Renesas Semiconductor Malaysia, a renowned leader in the global semiconductor industry. Before we proceed, allow us to introduce ourselves. Our group is known as Solar Sparks, symbolizing energy, innovation, and a bright future. Renesas Adriana, the leader of our group. Next, Farah Maisara. Ingmun Kit. Nicholas. Finally, Muhammad Akil Fahmi. Together, we aim to provide a well-rounded understanding of Renesas Semiconductor Malaysia. Renesas Semiconductor Malaysia SDN, BHD, is a key subsidiary of Renesas Electronics, specializing in manufacturing and testing semiconductors for industries like automotive, consumer electronics, and telecommunications. Known for innovation and quality, it supports Malaysia's growth with advanced technology solutions. The company is dedicated to sustainability and global manufacturing excellence, while fostering local talent and economic development. Semiconductor device manufacturing is a complex, step-by-step process that transforms raw materials into functional microchips. It begins with wafer fabrication, where silicon wafers are prepared, patterned using photolithography, doped to adjust electrical properties, and etched to form intricate structures. This stage alone can take up to 18 weeks due to the numerous steps involved. Next is wafer testing, where chips are electrically inspected to ensure functionality, identifying and discarding defective units early. This is followed by assembly or packaging, where individual chips are mounted onto substrates, connected with wires or pillars, and encased in protective covers. Advanced packaging techniques, like 3D packaging, enhance performance and efficiency. Finally, the chips undergo rigorous final testing, including burn-in tests, to simulate real-world conditions and detect flaws. This ensures only reliable, high-quality semiconductor devices make it to the market, completing a process that can span nearly 6 months from start to finish. Renesas Semiconductor Malaysia has made significant strides in sustainability, as outlined in their 2021 to 2023 ESG reports. They've achieved impressive reductions in water intensity by 36 to 38% and increased recycling rates to 33%. However, there's still potential to advance further by adopting innovative water treatment technologies like zero liquid discharge systems. In energy efficiency, the company reduced energy consumption by 2.6% while driving sustainable revenue growth, with 70% of their global revenue stemming from sustainability-focused products. Accelerating their shift to renewable energy and leveraging advanced technologies such as AI and IoT could further optimize energy use. Additionally, Renesas has demonstrated a strong commitment to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, achieving a 17.9% reduction in just 1 year. While Scope 3 emissions remain a challenge, integrating low-carbon design principles and collaborating across their supply chain could amplify their impact. Renesas' journey highlights the power of innovation and collaboration in achieving sustainability goals. Next, let's proceed with carbon footprint calculation in Renesas' ESG report. Did you know that carbon footprints reflect the total carbon dioxide emissions caused directly or indirectly by an activity or product? It's a key metric for assessing environmental impact, measured in metric tons of CO2, or TCO2. In 2023, Renesas calculated their carbon footprint using the GHG protocols, categorizing emissions into 3 scopes. Scope 1 covers direct emissions, like fuel usage and operations, accounting for 6.26% or 276,940 TCO2. Scope 2 includes indirect emissions from purchased electricity and heat, making up 25.92% or 647,660 TCO2. Scope 3 captures other indirect emissions, from sourcing materials to product end-of-life, representing 67.82% or 1,694,258 TCO2. Scope 3 is the largest contributor, including emissions from goods production, equipment investments, logistics, waste, and even business travel. Categories like downstream logistics were not applicable. To enhance accuracy, Scope 2 emissions were calculated using location-based and market-based approaches, considering factors like regional grids and renewable energy use. By analyzing Scopes 1 and 2, Renesas identifies ways to optimize operations. Meanwhile, Scope 3 supports collaboration with suppliers to reduce emissions across the entire value chain. Together, these efforts are driving a more sustainable future. Let's start with the basics. Carbon footprint reporting, as seen in ESG, environmental, social, and governance frameworks, categorizes emissions into 3 scopes. Scope 1, direct emissions from operations, like gas usage. Scope 2, indirect emissions from purchased electricity, heat, or cooling. Scope 3, emissions from the broader value chain, including raw materials and product end-of-life impacts. Renesas' 2023 Business and Sustainability Report highlighted a 37% reduction in Scope 1 and 2 emissions since 2015. This was achieved through renewable energy installations and process optimizations. They also reduced emissions of perfluorocompounds, or PFCs, key greenhouse gases in semiconductor manufacturing. But here's the challenge: ESG reporting is limited in scope. It primarily focuses on operational emissions, which account for only 30 to 40% of a product's total life cycle environmental impact. Key stages like raw material extraction, supply chain activities, and disposal are often underrepresented. This is where life cycle assessment, or LCA, steps in. LCA takes a holistic approach, analyzing a product's environmental impact across its entire life cycle, from raw material extraction to manufacturing, usage, and end-of-life disposal. Research highlights the differences between ESG reporting and LCA. According to a study by Favai et al., 2021, material extraction alone can account for up to 50% of a product's life cycle emissions, an area ESG reports often overlook. Another study by Smith, 2020, shows that Scope 3 emissions, those tied to supply chains and material sourcing, make up 60 to 70% of total emissions. Yet, ESG reports tend to estimate these emissions based on averages or supplier disclosures. To summarize, here are the key differences. Scope: ESG focuses on operational emissions, while LCA considers cradle-to-grave impacts. Focus: ESG emphasizes compliance and transparency, whereas LCA aims to reduce environmental impacts across the product lifecycle. Metrics: ESG relies on CO2 equivalent emissions, while LCA examines broader impacts like water usage and resource depletion. Applications: ESG informs stakeholders, while LCA drives eco-design strategies. While ESG reporting is a step in the right direction, life cycle assessments provide a more comprehensive view of environmental impacts. Together, these tools can help industries like semiconductors chart a truly sustainable future.